Gotta love ladybugs in your garden. Hey everyone, Rob the Backyard Gardener here, and I'm just going to give you a tour of what I have growing in my backyard. It's still a little early in the season, but I've sown a few things over the last month. You've seen a few of the videos, like my tomato transplant video, my how to grow potatoes video. But anyway, I just wanted to give you an update, take you on a little tour of my yard, and let you see what I have growing. So please join me as we take a look. So 3 or 4 weeks ago, I showed you how I sow my chitted seed potatoes. And I think it's time to give you an update, first and foremost, on the potato patch. So if you recall, I put in 27 of these bad boys, and these are beautiful looking plants. Sun's just about going down here in North Texas, so I wanted to give you a good look without the sunlight on them. There's a few that haven't done as quite as well. We got the ones on the lower level here are not as healthy. I will tell you that the sun, it gets the least amount of sun right now through here. So, you know, we still got 100% sprout rate, if you will. The one that's right here, it looks like it's struggling a little bit, but it's coming up. To any extent, I'm super happy about the potatoes. You got to remember, I just put these in the ground, I think 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago this weekend. So they've come a long way in 3 weeks. They look pretty fantastic. I also showed you how I stagger planted 6 of the smaller potatoes in this relatively small bucket. I want to say it's probably a 5-gallon pot. But anyway, we've got pretty good sprout rate on here as well. I know that there's 4 potatoes, so it looks like one of the lower ones came up. I think this one's one of the lower ones coming up. So they're doing really good as well in this pot. And then finally I planted 1 Yukon Gold and another 5 of the decent chitted seed potatoes in this bed. Now in this bed, I also have my broccoli that's just starting to come up. I planted this about 2 weeks ago actually. We've got about 60% germination rate. These were a few old seeds, so I wasn't quite sure what I'd get. I could always plug in some of the holes where they didn't come up, but regardless, I'm gonna probably need to thin a few of them out that came up together. We'll see how they go and which ones are the front runners before I pull them up or do anything different with them. As a test, I took my grape tomatoes, 5, I'm sorry, I took 5 of them. One here, one here, one here, one here, and one there. And we've had some really cold nights the last few nights, and these guys really have just struggled for 2 things. One, whenever you transplant seedlings grown from seed indoors and they see the sun for the first time, it can be quite a shock. And then we've had a couple of nights below 45 degrees, almost near 38 degrees. So they've survived. I took one of my watermelons just for fun to see if I got it out probably 3 weeks to 4 weeks too early, how it would do. You know, it's struggled on these last few nights, but it is starting to put a few flowers out. So I'm thinking that it might make it. We'll see. It's not supposed to get extremely cold over the next couple of days. We'll see how it takes it. My garlic patch right here is doing pretty well. Those were planted, I believe, October. So they won't be ready for several more months, but I just wanted to give you a good look at them. And then we've got some cilantro seedlings that have sprouted. I just tossed a bunch of my old seeds in this area, and we love cilantro, so we'll see how it goes. I've made a makeshift trellis, if you will, for my sugar snap peas. This is my smaller bunch that I started about a week and a half after the next bunch that I show you. They're gonna get taller than that, but this was just an experiment. Guys, I struggle growing sugar snap peas. Either the animals get them, like rats or birds, or the soil conditions weren't good enough, or I plant them too late in the season. So I'm really hoping to get some sugar snap peas. I think in the last 2 years, with about 20 or 30 plants, I've only been able to successfully harvest maybe 15 snap peas. Not too good. And then in this bed, I've planted a couple of things. I planted a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, these sugar snap peas. Some have broken off in the wind, not quite sure. I put a rat trap down here with a little bit of peanut butter. I don't like to kill things, but it could be a rat that came back here. It hasn't gone off yet. So hopefully it's not a rat. I'd hate to have to kill it, but I can't have them. And I think that's a quicker, more humane way than poison. Also in this bed, and they haven't come up yet, but a week ago I planted a whole bunch of my Blue Lake bush beans. So they should be coming up here in the next 3 to 5 days, I'm hoping, as long as the seeds are okay. They should be okay. They're only a year old, so we'll wait for those to come in. This will be my heirloom tomato bed. Once it gets a little warmer, probably in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll take the tomatoes from my greenhouse. If you watch my greenhouse giveaway video, you'll see all the heirloom tomato seedlings in that. I'll give you a peek during this video as well, but this is where they're going to go. And then my peppers will be here in the front. And I've started several super hots, as well as my standard jalapeno, serrano, Fresno, and New Mexico Big Jim peppers. I also wanted to give you a look at my peach tree. Now, I'm not that excited that it's getting blossoms already, because it's still not warm enough for pollinators to be out. But you know, it's all in the lower foliage. There's a lot more blossoms on the upper foliage up here, so I'm hoping that within the next few weeks we get a burst of blooms and the pollinators can come and do their things. Right down from it, I also have my Orient pear tree. It's still in hibernation, which is fine, but the ends are starting to swell pretty good, so I only think it's a matter of time for this guy really takes off. And then right down from my Orient pear, I have a harvester peach tree. Again, it's still dormant, so it should just be a matter of time before he's getting his blooms and getting his leaves. And then finally, over here, I have another pear tree, and this is the Bartlett pear. He's just starting to get some foliage on him. Again, these are a couple of weeks away from when they really take off, and I'll be sure to do an update video when these guys are in full bloom and ready for fruits to be set. On this side of the yard, I planted or I sown some beets in here. A few have started to come up, but they're not doing that well, so we'll see if they end up giving me any kind of seedlings that come up so I can try to coax them into being beets. I've also got a nice look at some baby basil coming in, starting to get some bigger leaves on them, so I'm pretty happy about that. Be about another month before I get a good harvest on them. I've put one of my heirloom brandy wines already out here, as well as a cantaloupe. I've got some more sugar snap peas along this fence right here, and these are doing a little better. I think these are going to do pretty good. Keep my fingers crossed. Like I said, I'm just terrible at growing snap peas, and they're pretty easy to grow. And then again, I've got another heirloom brandy wine and a cantaloupe. And then I took my runners, some runners off of my strawberry patch, which I'll show you as well. And I planted these over here hoping to get a little bit later season harvest. And in between them, I also planted some beets as well. And again, the germination rate's not very good on the beets here, guys, but they were old seeds, 2 years old, so we're seeing what we can get off them. Here's the greenhouse I won on MI Gardener's greenhouse giveaway for his 100,000 subscribers. If you've seen the video, then you've seen what's in here, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you a peek at the tomatoes and things I have grown on inside. So here's a look inside the greenhouse. We've got the watermelon starts, some tomatoes, cantaloupe, sweet potatoes down there, and some more heirloom tomatoes. And these are the heirloom tomatoes I plan on putting where those tomato cages are on the side of the yard that I first showed. Anyway, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here because I do have a video on this greenhouse. So let's move on to the other side of the yard where I have the greenhouse that I built. So here's a good look at the greenhouse that I built about 1.5 years ago. I'm probably going to end up using this bed for cantaloupe, which once they're ready to get in the ground, I'll do that. We have my strawberry patch here, and you know, we've got quite a bit of flowers on this. The flowers are pretty much all over the place. So I'm hoping that once I get some fruit sets on these guys, I'll go ahead and put some netting on here to keep the birds and the pests away. I've got just 2 different varieties. I've got the Ozark strawberries, and I know I've got a second type of strawberry in here. I think it's called the Quinault. So I have those 2 types of strawberries in here. Here's my Gala apple tree that's going on 3 years now, and it's just starting to put some foliage out, so we'll see how that does. As well as, if you saw my update on my kiwis, the kiwis are coming back in full blast now, so that feels pretty good. On this side, guys, I have my Thompson seedless grapevine. I've got a new one down here that I just planted this year because I wanted to have a third one, but the old existing one, sorry about showing myself in the camera work here, but the old existing one from last year is really starting to take off now. We've got a lot of new green foliage, new growth coming off the existing vine. So I'm pretty happy about that. Looks like it's feeling like it's springtime, and the guy is taking off quite nicely. And here's a good look at one of the end branches. And then next to my Thompson seedless grapevine, I have two types of blackberries. I've got a standard thornless blackberry right here. It's got beautiful blooms that I've already set. So I'm hoping that we get some blackberries out of these blooms. We'll see how it goes. It's a little early for the pollinators, but I'm hoping. And then I've got a thorn blackberry that I planted last year. And it's funny, the main stalk didn't do too well, but it had a side runner come up and it seems to be doing fine. It's just starting to get its bud swelled on it, so probably in the next few weeks we should have some bud break as well. And then I've already shown you guys in a previous video, but I figured I'll give you a look as well. This is my heirloom Brandywine tomatoes that I put inside my custom built greenhouse. It gets pretty hot in here, guys. Just to give you an idea of what we're looking at, outside it's 59 degrees with 49% humidity, and indoors it's 83 degrees with 33% humidity. So significantly warmer in my greenhouse. Now, if you recall, this skirting I can remove. I just got to peel this off, and behind there is a rabbit fence, so it'll allow it to be cooler in here during the hot season but keep the predators out. I actually have a few fruit sets already on these Brandywine tomatoes. I guess I'll give you a look at one of them. Now, I know some people say that you should take, there you go, there's a fruit set. Some people say you should take all the beginning flowers off your tomatoes, but in Texas, guys, it gets so hot that you have a small bloom window, if you will, mid-March through probably late May is the ideal time to have your flowers set and produce fruits, because after that it gets so hot they won't be able to set fruits. Like this guy right here, if I can get a good look, they won't be able to set fruits because it'll be too hot, so they'll go kind of dormant for about a month and a half, 2 months, and then you can get a second late season harvest. So I'm gonna leave the fruit sets on these, and we're gonna get what we can early in the season and see what happens. It's still early, still a lot of things going on. I'm looking forward to a lot more things to happen, but I just wanted to give you an early season tour of what I'm growing, what's going on. Can't wait to update you on when I get my tomatoes in the ground, as well as my hot peppers. And I didn't show you because I forgot, but I did plant or sow some bantam sweet corn in between that potato patch. I know you can plant corn and potatoes together, so I'm hoping that potatoes don't get too tall before the corn sprouts can come up. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them. And as always, thanks for watching.